Howdy guys, I'm back with more Mass Effect 3. Today I'm actually going to spend some time going through the Codex, specifically the Reaper stuff, just because it seems kind of relevant given the situation and, I could use a refresher and maybe I'll even learn something new. So today I'm just going to be going through the Codex entries, and next time I'm going to be back on the main mission for Priority Palaven. Now I know you guys have told me that some of the Codex stuff stays pretty much the same throughout most of the games. So like I said, I'm mostly going to focus on reading about the Reaper stuff after I go through the timeline here. Alright, so 2069, Armstrong Outpost at Shackleton Crater becomes the first human settlement on Luna. It is formally founded on July 24th, the 100th anniversary of the first lunar landing. 2103, Lowell City in Eos Chasma becomes the first human settlement on Mars. So, not long after we went to the moon, we went to Mars. 2137, Eldfell Ashland Energy Corporation demonstrates helium-3 fuel extraction from the atmosphere of Saturn. So not even long after we were on the moon, we were harvesting parts of the universe for whatever we needed. 2142, construction of Gagarin Station Jump Zero begins beyond the orbit of Pluto. So we're going beyond here. 2148, prospectors discover the Prothean ruins at Prometheae Planum on Mars. So I kind of wonder, those archives that we were just on in Mars, were those near these Prothean ruins maybe? I don't know. 2149, translation of Prothean data leads humans to the Charon Mass Relay, Systems Alliance founded to coordinate exploration and colonization of extrasolar worlds. Alright, 2 years later in 2151, a shipping accident at Singapore International Spaceport exposes downwind communities to containers of dust form element 0. Alliance begins construction of Arcturus Station. So this was the beginning of our biotics here, huh? 2152, a year later. Roughly 30% of children born in Singapore after element 0 exposure suffer from cancerous growths. Systems Alliance begins settlement of Earth's first extrasolar colony world, the planet Demeter. 2154, Commander Shepard, yours truly, was born. 2155, Systems Alliance occupies completed portions of Arcturus Station as a headquarters. 2156, some children of Singapore exhibit minor telekinetic abilities. So, let's see, 2151 to 20, alright, so 5 years later we're kind of learning about, not all the element 0 stuff caused cancer necessarily. Some of them ended up, like X-Men. 2157, Turians encounter human explorers, first contact war, occupation and liberation of the human colony of Shanxi. 2158, humans learn potential of biotics. So this is 7 years after element 0 exposure. An international effort to track element 0 exposures begins. Roughly 10% of exposed children show some level of biotic ability, and what was it, like 30% of them had horrible tumors. 2160, Systems Alliance Parliament formed. 2165, humans establish embassy on Citadel. 2170, Batarian slavers attack the Alliance colony of Mindwar. 2176, during the Skylian Blitz, pirates and slavers attacked Elysium, the human capital in the Skylian Verge. 2177, Thresher Maws devour the Alliance colony of Akuz. 2178, in retaliation for the Skylian Blitz, an Alliance fleet wipes out an army of slavers on the moon of Torfin. 2183, so this is 5 years after this of the events on Torfin, which, part of Shepard's backstory, right? Alright, 2183, Geth-led rogue Spectre Saren Arterius attack the citadel, ensuing a battle that cost thousands of lives. A few weeks later, the SSV Normandy is ambushed and destroyed. Commander Shepard is presumed dead. So Shepard was 29 years old in the first game. 2 years later, she's rebuilt in 2185, so she's 31. An alien race known as the Collectors, which we learned were, repurposed Protheans. The Collectors abducts thousands of human colonists in the Terminus systems. Commander Shepard leads a team beyond the Omega-4 relay to attack the Collectors where they live, stopping the abductions. Yay, victory! And then 2186 is the current date now. So Shepard is, 32 maybe? 33 or so? Yeah, I guess 32, 31, 32, so quite a long timeline of the events of Mass Effect. I can't wait to see how far into the future Andromeda is, but I'll get there when I get there. Alright, so I'm going to I know I've already read through a little bit of the Reaper War here, but I'm just going to go ahead and go through it all real fast. So this is the Reaper War. This is, I guess, new to Mass Effect 3, since we have the Fall of Earth here. Alright. The Reapers took Earth in a matter of hours. The Alliance knew the first wave would arrive from Batarian space, but they were unprepared for the speed and scale of the attack. Instead, they decided to talk about it instead of do something about it. The Reapers bypassed the 6th and 7th fleets at Terra Nova and Eden Prime, flying straight from relay to relay where they could neither be tracked nor intercepted. The tactic was unexpected, since the navies of organic species would never risk coming out of FTL within combat range or leaving enemies at their backs to threaten supply lines. But that's exactly the thing. They're Reapers. This is all old news to them. We're, like toddlers trying to fight ancient beings. We're hopelessly helpless. Alright, at Arcturus Station, more than a dozen Reaper capital ships engaged the Alliance's 2nd, 3rd, and 5th fleets. This was mere screening for the main force. Dozens more capital ships continued through the Charon relay. Sorry, I don't know if that's Charon or Charon. Probably Charon, huh? Through the Charon relay, where the 1st fleet had been lying in wait, but was soon destroyed. The 4th fleet near Earth had a few minutes of advance warning. It stood no better chance. After destroying Earth's convoys, smaller Reaper destroyers wiped out all GPS and communication satellites in Earth's orbit and cut the undersea fiber optic cables that linked the continents. Wow, that's really scary to think about because, I even wonder, in real life this day and age, I can't help but think that I don't think there's any way, the world as we know it could fall into a dark age or anything like that, because we all are connected through the internet, through phones. We all have this knowledge. Now, I know that there's a few uncontacted tribes, like in the Amazon and on Sentinel Island, but I mean, for like 95% of the population, I just can't see there ever being another Dark Age unless something like this happened. So these Reaper destroyers, which I guess these aren't even the big ones, these are like the baby Reapers. They wiped out all GPS and communications, and they cut the cables. So they not only destroyed the Earth, they literally plunged the Earth into a Dark Age where we can't communicate with each other except by maybe smoke signal or something, but I don't think anyone remembers how to send smoke signals in the year 21, whatever it is, 86 or whatever. Crazy. Okay, Earth's resistance now relies on outdated radio towers and a few quantum entanglement communications whose matched pairs happen to be on other continents or outside the Sol system. So yeah, they're using old, antiquated equipment to communicate. Communication is so limited that the fate of entire nations remains unknown. That's so scary to think about. Can you imagine you're just chilling in your home, you know, browsing Tinder matches, or maybe just eating some Doritos, watching Netflix, and on the other side of the world, machines have just run everything over. Well, I guess you wouldn't be watching Netflix either, but that's some really scary business. I think I insert myself into these games a little too much, sorry. The capital ships bombarded defense installations and industrial centers, annihilating entire cities with populations in the low millions, including Adelaide, Hamburg, Algebye, and Fort Worth. Oh my gosh, I'm from Fort Worth in the world of Mass Effect. I'm dead. That's so like I've heard of Hamburg. I'm not gonna lie, I sound kind of ignorant, but I haven't heard of Adelaide or Algebye. I can probably guess that this is maybe somewhere um, in like maybe North Africa or the Middle East, and I'm not really sure where Adelaide is. I feel like an uncultured hick. I'll have to look that up. In Hamburg, you know, as but Fort Worth, that's where I'm from. That like there's a that's a city in the low millions. Like it says, entire cities with populations in the low millions. Fort Worth has a population. I think it's in the low millions. Maybe it's not quite that big. I don't feel like it's that big. There's no way it's that big. But oh my gosh, I never see my hometown. Like most, I usually say Dallas because no one's ever heard of Fort Worth. So that's kind of cool to see it there, but it's also destroyed, so not so cool. Alright, sorry, I'm getting way too into this. Okay, meanwhile, Reaper destroyers descended into the atmosphere to melt roads and capture population centers with minimal loss of life. This is not an example of the Reapers being merciful. More likely, they are hurting their prey to make the coming harvest that much easier. So what we know about the Reapers is that they don't necessarily just kill, they enslave, right? They enslave and they use up. They used up the Protheans that became the collectors, and you guys told me that the abominations that I saw at the beginning of the games were what was left of the Batarians, right? So, you know, there are things worse than death, and I think when it comes to the Reaper invasion, especially since I might be in trouble here, I think I'll take death over being a husk or a slave or whatever nasty thing they have in mind. Alright, the fall of Karshan. For every 1,000 Batarian refugees, there are 1,001 stories about how the Reapers invaded the Batarian systems. A few elements are common to almost every version, however. The Reapers arrived first in the Volar system and immediately destroyed its communications network. Okay, so we're seeing a trend here. It seems like the Reapers always go for communications first. You know, they black everything out so no one knows what's going on, which that's terrifying. That seems like a pretty effective way to wipe out a population, is keep them confused, right? Alright, the Hegemony's Department of Information Control blamed the loss of signal on space weather, but scrambled ships to the system nonetheless. Within a day, Reaper capital ships appeared in the Harsa system and descended on the Batarian homeworld Karshan. For all the rhetoric about the Hegemony's military prowess, their response to the Reapers was uncoordinated. Moments after the information minister took to the extranet and announced that unknown ships were destroying all space traffic near Karshan, the defense minister declared there was no reason to panic. Stop panicking! I don't know why you're all panicking! The planet's convoys were destroyed next, creating an ominous silence that has persisted ever since. Fearing they were next, Batarian colonies across Hegemony space began evacuations. So many refugees poured into the human-occupied Exodus cluster that Systems Alliance officials at first thought the Batarians were invading. And can you blame them? These Batarian fellows aren't the most lovable creatures, or species, I should say. I shouldn't call them creatures. More systems have gone dark as their convoys were destroyed and millions more Batarians trapped on their planets sit waiting for the Reapers. And of course, you know, if you guys watched me play Arrival, I might have blown up a few million Batarians. Anyway, the fall of Teatris. The Reapers' first attack on Turian space followed an age-old maxim, hit them where it hurts. A populous colony dating back centuries, Teatris was already embedded in the Turian psyche as the site of the worst terrorist attack in Turian history. Wounds were still raw from the Vallum blast, in which a separatist revolutionary slammed a starship into the colony's capital, killing more than 100,000 Turians. Hierarchy forces responded with a massive invasion of the planet to stamp out the separatist movement. It was a catharsis for the Turians, reassuring them that heroes would always triumph over evil. And so the Reapers struck Teatris first, just to kind of, make them feel bad about everything. By the time Teatris went dark, the Turians had already learned that the Batarians and humans were under attack. The hierarchy responded with what they believed was overwhelming force, only to walk into a trap. Reaper ships were waiting on the other side of the relay to Teatris, and they released devastating firepower the moment the fleet emerged. Turian leaders observing the one-sided battle were faced with a choice: reinforce their side of the relay to defend against a Reaper invasion, or throw more resources into an offense. With soldiers and civilians alike clamoring for retribution against the Reapers, the Turians continued the assault, as Turians do, right? The hierarchy sent warp bombs through the relay to clear a path, fighting tooth and talon. Oh yeah, I guess they have talons, huh? Tooth and talon to inflict casualties against the Reaper fleet. It was a valiant effort, but doomed. The Reapers emerged victorious from the relay and began broadcasting a signal to Turian convoys. Images of Valem, Teatris' capital, once again a smoking wreck. The fight for Turian space had begun. So it's like, these Reapers, they're very, very sadistic. Like, this place, we just talked about this area, Valem, and how it had, let's see, how did they phrase it exactly? But this was an important place to the Turians, right? Yeah, see, Teatris is already embedded in the Turian psyche as the site of the worst terrorist attack in history. So, this was a place that I don't really even know if there's any real place equivalent of something like this. And it was attacked, and then just to rub salt in the wounds, the Reapers broadcasted images of Valem. I mean, that's sadistic. That goes beyond just winning a war. You're in, sadistic, evil territory. So that's what's going on with the Reaper War. Now let's read a little bit about the Reaper capabilities here, and then we're going to go over to the main codex and just kind of listen to the speaker. Alright, Reaper capabilities. The Reapers are technologically superior to the organic species of the galaxy, but the degree of that superiority is a matter of debate in the intelligence community. The Reapers' thrusters and FTL drives appear to propel them at more than twice the speed of Citadel ships. Estimates of their location in dark space suggest they can travel nearly 30 light years in a 24-hour period, and just think, these things are millions of years old, so what feels like 24 hours is probably, a couple minutes to them, right? Reaper power sources seem to violate known physical laws. Reapers usually destroy fuel infrastructure rather than attempting to capture it intact, indicating that Reapers do not require organic species energy supplies. Then what keeps Reapers going, I wonder? Consequently, the Reapers attack without regard for maintaining supply lines behind them, except to move husks from one planet to another. Unlike Citadel ships, Reapers do not appear to discharge static buildup from their drive cores, although they sometimes appear wreathed in static discharge when they land on planets. So what keeps them going then? You know, these really are, like, do I dare say magical? Because that seems to be the only way to describe them. They don't even, if they're not following the laws of physics, you know, technology, I mean, can they even be technology? I don't even know. The main gun on a Reaper capital ship dwarfs that of the Alliance's Everest-class dreadnoughts. No dreadnought has yet survived a direct hit from the weapon. Ew, my. Estimates put its destructive power anywhere from 132 to 454 kilotons of TNT. Even if the target is hardened, as in the case of surface-based missile silo, the gun can instead bury the target beneath molten metal. Precise targeting computers and correctors also give Reaper weapons a longer effective range than Organics, dreadnoughts, or cruisers. The kinetic barriers on a Reaper capital ship can shrug off the firepower of a small fleet, which we saw that with Sovereign in the first game. It was a doozy. Weapons specifically designed to overcome shields such as the Javelin, Guardian lasers, or the Thanic series can bypass the barriers to some degree. The difficulty is getting close enough to use them. The surface-mounted weaponry on Reaper ships, similar in principle to Guardian, presents an effective defense against organic species fighters. So, you got a critter here that defies all physics and can't be hit and hits you really hard. So I think they've done a pretty good job of making me feel completely hopeless against the Reapers. So we've gone over the timeline, the Reaper War, and the Reapers, so now we're just going to listen to Mr. Narrator tell us a bit more about the Reapers, and like I said, I know a lot of this might be repetitive, but I might learn something new or realize something I didn't before, so here we go.
The Reaper called Harbinger is believed to be the oldest and largest in the Reaper Armada. From the reaches of dark space, Harbinger managed to control the Collectors, a race of human-sized insectoid bipeds, as it sent them on a campaign to kill and gather humans from vulnerable colonies. The Collectors became a terrifying force in the galaxy, responsible for the murder of hundreds of thousands. Surviving colonists have described the tone of Harbinger's threats heard through the Collectors as they attacked as visceral and terrifying. Alliance intelligence has tentatively identified Harbinger as one of the Reapers leading the attack on Earth.
Okay, so yeah, remember from the second game, Harbinger would occasionally take over a collector and yell at me, so this must be Harbinger in the flesh, metal, skin, whatever. He must be some kind of leader if the Reapers can even have such a thing. So, interesting. Alright, let's listen to this one.
A myth common to several cultures in the galaxy, Reapers were once imagined as space monsters that consumed entire stars. Archaeologists who searched for the sources of such myths found little besides the themes of all-consuming devils that are common to primitive cultures. Although accurate information about the Reapers remains scarce, the galaxy now knows that the Reapers are not a myth. They are a real and devastating threat.
Of course, you know, the galaxy realized that far too late, didn't they? Alright, here's Sovereign from the first game.
Sovereign was the first Reaper encountered by the modern Citadel races. Military leaders initially assumed that Sovereign was a geth, or Prothean flagship, commanded by Saren Arterius, a rogue specter. The truth was far more alarming. The massive ship was itself intelligent, and Saren proved to be under its control. The attacks by Sovereign against Eden Prime and the Citadel removed any uncertainty about the Reaper's technological superiority. Sovereign's formidable shielding and firepower allowed it to hold off the combined fleets of the Citadel, and its mass effect fields proved powerful enough to let the enormous vessel land on a planet's surface. Sovereign's mission, to open a mass relay that would transport the other Reapers from dark space, proved its undoing. During the Battle of the Citadel, Sovereign linked its consciousness to Saren's. When Saren's death corrupted the signal and shut down Sovereign's shields, Sovereign's destruction soon followed.
Yeah, this is what honks me off. This happened, 3 years ago now? And everyone's still like, I don't know about these Reapers, guys. It's like no one made any preparations for any of this happening. And now that the Reapers attacked, oh no, what do we do? Let's ask Commander Shepard. It's like, this is so obnoxious that they... This this big dude, literally attacked the Citadel. The council died because I'm an ass. And, this pretty much, and it talked about how Sovereign wanted to open a mass relay so that all his Reaper bros could just come in through the back door. Trying to convince everybody of the truth. I mean, everyone's got to learn the hard way, right? Alright, Indoctrination.
Reaper indoctrination is an insidious means of corrupting organic minds, reprogramming the brain through physical and psychological conditioning using electromagnetic fields, infrasonic and ultrasonic noise, and other subliminal methods. The Reaper's resulting control over the limbic system leaves the victim highly susceptible to its suggestions. Organics undergoing indoctrination may complain of headaches and buzzing or ringing in their ears. As time passes, they have feelings of being watched and hallucinations of ghostly presences. Ultimately, the Reaper gains the ability to use the victim's body to amplify its signals, manifesting as alien voices in the mind. Indoctrination can create perfect deep cover agents. A Reaper's suggestions can manipulate victims into betraying friends, trusting enemies, or viewing the Reaper itself with superstitious awe. Should a Reaper subvert a well-placed political or military leader, the resulting chaos can bring down nations. Long-term physical effects of the manipulation are unsustainable. Higher mental functioning decays, ultimately leaving the victim a gibbering animal. Rapid indoctrination is possible, but causes this decay in days or weeks. Slow, patient indoctrination allows the thrall to last for months or years.
Gosh, or, in the Protheans case, the Protheans became collectors, so the indoctrination must have been really, really, really slow for collectors to still be around in the second and maybe even in this game. Gosh, it makes me kind of wonder, we've been using the Citadel, we've been using Reaper technology. Are we maybe not already being indoctrinated just by virtue of using their stuff? Ooh, makes you wonder, doesn't it? Why did the collectors last so long as indoctrinated subjects? Alright, moving on there.
The Citadel races have classified the known variants of Reapers into 4 types. Capital ships are Sovereign-class Reapers 2 kilometers in length. They typically target the dreadnoughts, defense installations, and industrial cities of organic civilizations. Experts believe the Reapers harvest a single species of organics during each cycle of extinction to create these massive ships. Some capital ships are capable of launching small drones equivalent to fighters. Destroyers are 160 meters long and, in astounding numbers, make up the bulk of the Reaper fleet. They engage cruisers and other smaller ships, as well as communications posts and enemy command centers. Research suggests destroyers are created from those species that are not harvested to make capital ships. Troop transports carry husks to unconquered planets and bring victims of the harvest to Reaper processing centers. They vary in length from 200 meters to 1 kilometer, but unlike capital ships and destroyers, do not appear to be self-aware. Instead, other Reapers operate troop transports remotely. Processors, also called slaughter ships, are mobile centers for mass DNA harvesting. Like troop transports, processors appear to be remotely operated by sapient Reapers.
Okay, so this leaves me with a lot of confusion and questions. First of all, I remember you guys kind of mentioning the different classes of Reapers, so not all of them are, sovereign-sized, and I kind of assumed that they were all massive, but the ones that were attacking Earth were more a mix of, these guys, right? So this is kind of interesting right here. It says they believe the Reapers harvest a single species of organics during each cycle. So does that mean that the Protheans were the only spacefaring race, and every single other race that they'd harvested, or species? I should quit saying race. I'm sorry, species. So every single species that has been harvested, does that mean that they were the only spacefaring species? Like, is this the first time that all of these species of the galaxy have kind of come together and communicated with one another? I'm not sure about that one, but it's kind of interesting that they target a single, well, they harvest well, I guess it doesn't say they just kill one, they just harvest it. So maybe they're harvesting humans and killing everything else. I'm not really sure. When I watched the little animation anime that's between Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3, the Paragon Lost, I do remember one of the, like the, well, I don't want to spoil it for people that haven't seen it, but basically something said to something that they didn't want an Asari to, make everything, I guess spoiled. I don't know. I'm kind of losing the word I had in my mind here. So looks like maybe they're trying to harvest just humans, but anything else in the way is just collateral damage. I'm not entirely sure yet. And why is it that, these capital ships that seem to be extremely intelligent, sapient, and then why are there some that are just tools? Like, what exactly are the Reapers? Are they intelligent or are they technology? What did the Reapers come from? Why are they using other Reapers for, like these two, seem to be operated by other... I'm just so confused. Like, I thought this would clear things up. This is making me more confused. I just feel so stupid. Alright, cannibals.
Cannibals are frontline Reaper units created from corrupted Batarians.
Aha.
The nickname refers to their propensity to devour the bodies of fallen comrades. This triggers a biochemical process through which the cannibals spontaneously heal themselves and grow new chitinous armor.
Oh.
The transformation also appears to give cannibals a greater awareness of their surroundings, leading to more strategic behavior and careful use of battlefield cover.
Okay, yeah. Remember one of you guys, I think I don't know if I called them cannibals. I think I called them abominations earlier. I'm not sure, but I remember one of you guys told me that the cannibals were the Batarians now. So you can look. They definitely look Batarian-like with the eyes right there. But look, this guy's got like a face on his shoulder here, and there's a face on this guy's shoulder. Like, this is some real nightmare fuel, man. This game is getting so... I was not expecting it to be so scary. I really wasn't. I thought it was all going to be robots and aliens, not like true horror, like this is. I think it's horror anyway.
Husks are the aggressive, mindless foot soldiers of the Reaper armies. They are created by impaling either living or dead humans on mechanical spikes that rapidly extract water and trace minerals, and replace them with cybernetics.
Ah.
These cybernetics reanimate the lifeless flesh and tissue, transforming the bodies into horrifying killing machines. The Reapers use large groups of husks to overwhelm the enemy. The husks' inability to feel pain, as well as their tendency to attack in groups, makes them particularly deadly adversaries.
Zerg Rush! Alright, so that's how the husks work. All of this stuff that keeps them alive is drained and replaced with, I guess, nano machines or something. So they're literally making robot zombies. Great robot zombies. Interesting. Well, I am actually really glad I went through the Codex there because I got a refresher on some things and learned a little bit more detail about the other things. Some of the things are things that you guys told me, like, oh, I
The
don't want to,
Reaper
yep,
call.
I don't want to listen to you again. But, yeah, I really enjoyed going through this again. I don't know if I should do another Codex video in the future. I'm not really sure. I mean, you guys still see the new blinking bite. I'm not really sure how much has changed, if anything, but the Reaper stuff was very interesting, and I'm glad I went through it. I hope you guys found it interesting too. Really, really excited to continue the game knowing what I'm up against now. So next time, I'm going to get back onto Priority, Palaven, and, you know, I've got this little room right here that was locked before, and it looks like it's a Spectre office, so next time I'm also going to check out the Spectre office and go from there. I guess it's probably about time that I buy some of the DLC too, so I will probably, the DLC, all the DLC costs more than the darned base game, so I'll probably do that pretty soon too. Anyways, guys, thanks for checking out the Codex with me today, and I will see you with another video soon. Bye for now.